girls, children of all ages, and those watching on all different platforms. Welcome to the broadcast. Today, we're back. So we're doing this crazy... Hey, everybody. Hey. We're doing this crazy idea of our first broadcast was completely sober, and we decided we were going to talk about childhood trauma and leave it open until... Well, we just started with a good story and we went childhood trauma. And then we were like, you know what? Now, what if we all got a little not sober, a little inebriated, dare I say, and then had the same conversation? And then, it was like, oh God, they abducted me, these fucking aliens. And so we're going to try and have this conversation again, but this time, a little inebriated.
First thing I want to say is, Mom, there's water in this cup. I promise you. Everyone's gonna attest.
It actually is water.
We had a whole ordeal.
It was an actual struggle.
It was bad.
We would have been on a couple minutes ago. It turns out he's intermittent fasting.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted just orange juice, and then he yelled at me. He's like, "No, fuck you, no orange juice." And then I had to drink this orange juice and give him the.
Yeah.
Roar.
It broke my fast.
Yeah.
It's like that.
He's mad at us. We ruined his diet.
I'm not drinking for this particular segment, but I still suffer from the same amount of trauma. Early age trauma for me was just life and death situations. So I had mentioned in the previous podcast. One of the scariest moments of my life was when it's my first memory. About 2.5 years old, my brother's an infant. My mom is walking through Fifth Avenue in Brooklyn, and I know one thing for sure, right? I have to hold on to the carriage. I have to listen to what my mom says. I have to tread carefully and slowly. My mom knows everyone in this neighborhood.
Still she grew up there, though, right?
Still to this day.
But imagine me there 50 years.
Right. So, we turned the street, and all of a sudden, explosions, right? Like louder than fireworks, like explosions, like C4, World War II sort of things. Like for like a 3-year-old, right? This dude hops over the gate, grabs my mom, my brother, my mom grabs me, takes us into this first-story apartment in this doorway, right? That's not his own, right? To protect us, to shield us from what I later found out were the bullets that were flying on this New York City Brooklyn block where I've been raised. Yo. And so I looked at my mom, and she was terrified, in tears, right? It's one of the first time I realized that like my mom cannot protect me from everything in the world, and it was scary, right? And these gunshots, they continued going until the police sirens.
And wow, how old were you again for that?
2.5, 3.
How do you have memories this vivid from 2 or 3?
Well, because they were that bad. I hope your first memories are that good, right?
Okay, now you're making me feel okay. So, yeah, if I'm being honest, one of my very, very first memories is as stupid as it sounds. I remember being about like at 3 years old, which is one of the only memories I have from that age. I got my first kiss. But I remember it was Halloween, which is crazy, but I remember it stupidly vividly. We were on top of this hill. We were walking down. Me and this other girl were next to each other. But, you don't know. You just...
What was your uncle's name?
Listen,
this is the wrong type of story.
What happened with you and your uncle did not happen in my childhood.
Okay. Different upbringings. Okay, go.
I had a good uncle. My uncle was only about fucking sluts, okay? Listen, Uncle Jim was like this guy who he fucked. Everybody knew. He was just that guy. I'm so certain My grandfather hated when I could only imagine the face. Yeah, no, I had one of those uncles.
Yeah, that was mine. The truck driver.
And this guy had a motorcycle. The if you know the Barry Melrose mullet cut from the 90s, that guy.
The most gentlest touch.
No, mine's just that like privilege that marries an Oriental. He gets to do whatever he wants the rest of his life.
Oriental is like the wrong way to describe these days.
No, she.
And we're canceled. Well,
I
next scenario,
asked if
this
there
was a
were
good
more-
run. This
It's
is a
fine.
good run.
Lana, I love you. She's my bitch though. She's my bottom bitch.
And there's always that top bitch.
Actually, talking about running a prostitution ring. Number 1 step was find bitches. The number 2 step was eat squirrels. Someone came up with number 2. I said that was too strong for number 2. That should be like a 4 or 5 if and whether that should be included or not.
But this is Vegas. Do we really need to
I don't
end
even
up
know
in
if there are
prostitution?
squirrels.
Can we just rent a big warehouse and throw a party? You just honestly
But
listen.
for like
you just need
volunteer
like
prostitution.
volunteer.
But like safe and regulated.
Where did this go?
Like with the FCC.
How did we get here?
But like Belgium, Amsterdam. You can regulate it.
Wait,
Safe
What?
times.
wait,
Safe
What?
times.
wait.
What?
I feel like there's like a lot to unpack right here.
Well, can you-
it's-
Can you unpack all of this?
I can't. Like first, like so squirrels.
That
Squirrel.
was. I think somebody was fucked up in the chat. I asked what number 2 was. I made the solid number 1, but number 2.
A squirrel. It made it
business-
seem like
The business partners that I chose might be questionable, but at the time,
also like cult leader worthy. I feel
See the
right now. I
screen?
was like,
See the
a
screen?
little bit.
Scream? Squirrel.
Oh, see, that was my defense. I said, why would you want to kill a squirrel? And he made a really, like, disturbed rap song about it.
Yeah, so anyway, so we decided to do this not sober. I don't know whose dumb
We're
idea
sober.
that idea was. This is great. So we decided we were going to
also
talk
I'm
about
sober.
child. Okay, so this is hilarious. So 2/3 of the cast is not sober, and 1/3 is actually, yeah, he's pretty sober. Yeah.
He's here
Fine.
for it.
Hey, Will's mom. That's a reverse. Yeah. Hey. All right, childhood trauma. Let's try and focus on this for a minute. This is definitely one. Oh, I can't wait to see these edits later. So neither of you had any tics growing up?
6.
Yeah.
So I'm from the East Coast, right? Where Lyme disease was discovered.
No,
So-
not those kind of tics.
So, wait, no.
No.
No, I'm talking about like.
No.
No, yeah.
no,
So I mean,
no,
like,
no.
check it out. Like, let me
Not those
finish.
ticks.
Let me finish. Right.
Okay.
Lyme disease was discovered on the East Coast, in a city, in Old Lyme or Lyme, Connecticut. Right. And so, like, we learned straight away, stay away from the tall grass. Stay away from the tall grass, and that has many other repercussions than you actually realize. When in my neighborhood, when we'd go to the park, my mom would tell me to watch out for the soft stuff and the pointy stuff. The soft stuff being dog
Wait,
shit,
What?
and the pointy stuff being used needles. And so I remember playing in the playground.
Okay.
And, like, watching out for the dog shit because no one in fucking New York walks their fucking dog and picks up their shit.
Facts.
But then at the same time, coming across used needles. Like, I remember seeing my first used syringe, and it's fucking epidemic at the time, right? And it's almost like the only thing I can relate it to is someone in the West Coast, in the desert, who has grown up in this sort of environment, like watching out for rattlesnakes, right? Those were my rattlesnakes. These used syringes. You don't want to
Shit.
you don't want to fall into the dirt,
That's a deep analogy.
right? Yeah. And that was how I grew up.
It's a good thing someone's sober.
We needed an adult in the room.
Coherence is nice.
It is.
How do you spell coherence again?
C-O.
No.
I have a computer in front of me.
No, it's
Siri.
fine. Yeah.
Help.
But yeah, that was my that's the
good.
traumatizing, those sort of like
That's okay.
traumatizing little things that happened to me growing up. Like I remember like going to sleep at night, and I spoke about this in the previous podcast, right? Monsters, right?
Mm-hmm.
For me, like the things that go bump in the night, I love those things. I love vampires. I love werewolves. I love zombies. I love mummies, right? Because all of those monsters had like a means of destruction. I can always beat them, right? I can like go get the tablet for the mummy. I can have a silver bullet for the werewolf. I can shoot the zombie in the head.
There's always a kryptonite.
But for the things that were really going on during my upbringing,
Like real
there was like real monsters, like the footsteps going around my roof. The little girl who lived across the hall from me, who used to get beaten every single night. I used to hear her wails, right? The police helicopters flashing their lights in my window as I'm trying to go to sleep. I had no solutions for that, right? And so I grew up thinking that human beings were the real monsters.
Okay,
True
so with that, do you feel like you were maybe not living life too much as a child, but watching life?
I think what separated me from a
If
lot
that
of the
makes
kids
any
in my
sense.
neighborhood was one, my mom. So the first 7 years of my life, she read to me. She instilled a love of reading, which in turn indirectly gave me a thirst for knowledge. And then she used to create with me, and so she amplified. She sparked my creativity, and she like shielded me from a lot of that stuff up until 6, 7, right when it really became apparent.
Yeah.
Oh, that's deep.
And yeah, so it's like a combination of like all these experiences, the upbringing with my mom, my understanding that like, hey, like I know like this setting that I'm currently in isn't right, but still like not understanding how to solve it. It 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 instilled a lifelong drive or thirst, motivation for understanding my fellow man, figuring out myself, right? What makes me tick, right? Not including Lyme disease. And then
ball ticks are real.
What?
My cousin has a weird story about how this tick was on his balls for like 5 days. It was wild.
4 days
like
too
when
many.
you said that shit, I was like, "Oh, ball tick in Arkansas, bro." That was a whole ordeal.
Yeah.
Whole church knows about that ball tick. Sorry, Lyme disease tick.
The point I was making was, yeah, so like all these factors combined set me on the path of many mistakes, of becoming a victim of my environment, because I did everything that scared me. I participated in when I was a young teen, early adult. And then two, the fact that I love to read, the fact that I understood that the environment that I was I guess like created in wasn't ideal. It set me on a path to trying to figure out what made me who I am and how I can provide the tools, the resources, and a guide for kids suffering from similar afflictions in my neighborhood.
I feel that, and I feel like it creates other monsters.
Not if the right person does it.
I feel like I came from 2 underprivileged families that finally made it, and they wanted to prevent what they went through. But because they used their past as their motive to how they like parented me, it was wrong because it wasn't the right form of punishment. Because it was a different upbringing. So, because my like dad was like ghetto, like raised 9 brothers and sisters, like meth head. Totally respect where he came from, but
normal in my household.
but seriously, it's a whole different. And he was my age when he came into my life, so it was a whole different, also age demographic that went into with it. You know what I mean? Like it changes a whole lot, but. He punished me for like what he was because he saw a lot of me in him and wanted to prevent the road that I was going down because I was acting out. That's why we moved to Arkansas, get her the good education because I was starting to do hood shit. And they
You're becoming a ratchet.
Yeah, but he took it too far to where he was punishing me by like taking away my makeup, like self-esteem. You know what I mean? Like he kind of got
taking away the girl power.
It's like punishing the kid and taking away music and art and crafts, right?
Same thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would say the same thing.
So was the move to Arkansas beneficial or detrimental to your upbringing?
I feel like it cultured me a lot.
Yeah,
it cultured me a lot. You know, it's a huge difference because I grew up
diversity.
Yeah, I grew up with my mom's like side. That was all European. Like I was a firstborn American. Like they spoke Flemish around me, and then her marrying first one was super abusive. Like that was the first stepdaddy. Actually, second stepdaddy. Third one, that one is my adopted dad now, and we went through a lot of rocky paths to get to where we are now. But it was hard. So just growing up from that dynamic on top of moving, you know, living in Vegas, moving to Arkansas, moving back, it was
a lot.
Definitely a lot. But you learn a lot that like this isn't just like what the world is. You know what I mean? That Vegas.
Well, okay, so back to it because I actually thought this was a good one. I do feel like someone like Will, best example, and it definitely take me drunk to admit this. Will is actually really good on when I say stupid shit, especially about female stuff. He has a political correct, but almost like a daddy approach of like, buddy, I'm not angry at with you. I'm just straightforwardly disappointed with you, but now hear me out. Now here's my perspective. But he can also articulate without making me feel like a piece of shit.
Like objectively.
But he lets me know he's disappointed. And then he figures out how to articulate it in a way that I can understand and not be like, whoa, bro, fuck yourself, go outside. I'm usually like, whoa, bro, you're fucking right. I didn't articulate it right. I can do better, and I am better than that, and I should have said it better. And I would say probably 98 out of 100 times he's fucking spot on with that shit. And so you need someone like that to actually represent and help and fix.
I appreciate that, bro. Cause so I'm not gonna like sit here and try to pretend like I'm some like all-knowing, ever-knowing.
You only scored a 98. You didn't score a 100, buddy.
And so like like I've heard a lot of people in my life, including women, friends and family, people like people I love, siblings and neighbors, and I used to be like super manipulative, and I used to view sex and interpersonal relations very like one-sided, right? And I realized at one point that like half of my friends were women, and they would come up to me and they would complain or like vent to me about things that were going to about the men in their lives. And I would realize like, holy shit, it took me a minute to realize like, holy shit, like I'm that person to other people.
Yeah, you don't realize it from the outsider looking.
Well, we had that earlier. So I was talking about someone, and you were that guy.
So it's like, you know, like men are from Mars, women are from Venus, sort of shit, or vice versa, right? And so like I realized that like through my experience and through my research and through my friends and my family, I realized like, you know, like men and women are really not that different at all,
They're
right?
not.
We all want the same things, right? Women are people. And then once you start to treat them as people and see them as people, then like your views and your opinions start to change, and hopefully like your behaviors and your actions start to change, right? Because now it's like you're not like when you meet a woman, right? It's not going to be too much different when you meet a guy, right? We met
Yep.
as adults and we became friends, and I've met.
It wasn't that hard.
It wasn't that hard, and I've met. And I understand, and I've met other women your age and my age, and we're still friends, right? And so as long as you understand, like,
Yes, there shouldn't be a sexual objectification, like as to
Exactly.
like a relationship. Like guys and girls can be friends. So when I was heavier, I had my bro group that would come over, watch Talladega Nights with my dad. Like I went to bonfires. Like I was the bro. And when I lost the weight and I got my boobs done,
You couldn't be the bro anymore.
they looked at me different and they treated me different. And I said, fuck everybody. I said, you guys aren't in it for the right reasons. I was like, I'm the same person. I am the same person who threw the dick themed birthday party last year. You know what I mean? Like for them to think that it changes things just because like artificial shit changes, like that doesn't mean like the 3 years we had being really good friends like changed anything. You know what I mean? Like it is disappointing, but it shouldn't be like that. You know what I mean?
Well, isn't that the human nature tendency, unfortunately?
No, it's not human nature, bro. Because
You
what
don't
it is,
disagree?
No, yeah,
I do, because I didn't have any sexual feelings for them when I was
You both
heavy.
disagree then.
I 100% disagree, because as a society, right, we have
Sexually objectified.
Yes, we have.
I mean, from look at child pageants, right? We're
Makeup.
sexualizing little girls from the
Great
7,
example.
6, 5 at these really young ages, right? Look at the magazines, look at the media, right? It's just like there's this over sexualization of women, right? That is just obscene and it goes way too far, right? And so in our society today, I for one believe that women are the most oppressed beings on the planet today. Just like compare it to any race, to any religion.
There's like an actual scale. I think it's white, older men, wealthy, and then I think it's black men, white women. Then it's like there's a whole other category, and then it's black women that are like the lowest of the low. But in all ends of the sense, males are always on top, females are always on the bottom of it.
That seems like you're talking about the United States, right?
The United States,
this is all misconstrued.
Just the U.S.
And I do think it's all based on location.
In the world, right? Women are the most oppressed beings
in the
on
world.
the planet.
In the world.
Absolutely.
Right. And so, well, not beings, or like humans, right? Because the most oppressed beings right now are probably like the white rhino, right? Or it's like, they're borderline extinct.
Have you seen The Power?
The Power in which
where women create this organ as a defense mechanism because they're so oppressed by the male class, like around all these nations from a certain age, as like a defense mechanism, creates like electricity and like shocks people. Like it creates an electric current.
That's like a fictional piece that
it's the coolest shit ever.
I'm looking
but
it up
it's
right now.
literally about women being oppressed, and they create a fucking organ as the body's natural defense about being like oppressed. It's crazy. I just finished it, but like if you're into that I just
I don't know how we got on this topic, but I'll tap into this easily. Science no longer needs man. We can produce sperm in a lab.
Yeah,
we can put sperm in a female. So the only reason male is needed is to reproduce. And now they can make the things that males reproduce with. So what do you need a male for?
they can take 2 eggs and always
they
make
can duplicate
a female.
sperm.
But
and that sperm bank is heavily loaded. Cheers.
So, And this is I think societally, I don't think this is necessarily a new thing, but like if you go back to like our like hunter and gathering times when we're like nomads,
No, yeah.
right? So there was a different hierarchy back in the day, right? Because when we were hunter and gatherers, the hunters were predominantly male,
Absolutely, always.
and then the gatherers
Gatherers
were
were the
predominantly
females.
female, right? And so the hunters would account for only, I think, 20 or 30% of our daily, our
Like
necessary
nutritional
daily
value,
intake,
yeah.
and then the women would account for 60 to 70%. And so they were held in the higher, they were held in above in a higher hierarchy, higher in the totem pole.
Yeah.
Right. It was only until we started to form cities and societies, agriculture, where we started to own things. Right. Men really started to pridefulness. So it's like now I want
the dominance, the
I want my son.
Yeah.
I want my family to inherit my lands, my business, and that's really when things started to go south for women.
Yeah, like the male.
That's the same time capitalism happened, though. That's the same time expansion
happened. Not capitalism,
happened.
bro. Capitalism is a relatively new thing. So
people would buy one shop and then get another shop.
It was
But there was still like a culture. There was a dominance.
You don't think that would happen around the same time?
No, capitalism is relatively new. This is an American thing.
Yeah, that's like after the industrialism.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Your math checks out this time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in like a conceptual thing, they were doing it on simpler terms, but like now, like capitalization compared to what it was 10 years ago is a completely different.
Oh, we're not even tapping into that. Yeah, today's capitalism.
Porn is a thing.
This is not your grandfather's capitalism.
Is it though?
I mean,
my dad listens to Joel Osteen, so I'm sure he's gonna love this.
He's one of the worst people on the planet.
I know.
He's one that dude. He exploits religion.
And
like
then he
no.
Oh my god! And then he listens. Oh my god! What's his name? He does a podcast. He's all into float spas, sensory deprivation.
Joe Rogan.
Well, Joe Rogan.
Joe.
Asked and believed. Absolutely. No, he's obsessed with Joe Rogan and Joel Osteen. It's the weirdest combination I've ever met.
So he's a liberal then. That's like right in the middle.
Yeah.
It's like
no, he's
it's, like,
it's the worst.
No,
it's the worst.
Because like Joel Osteen is like he's like super. He's like ultra sort of like he's exploiting.
All the bright red.
Joel Osteen. He's like exploiting religious vulnerabilities, right? Because people think this is a Christian nation, and so Joel Osteen is like the worst representation. That's what they say, right? He's the worst representation of Jesus, right? Because he has the private jets, right? He has the mega churches, right? He has like the miracle spring water, right? His eyes are on the back. He's fucking so good. He got the fucking water wings. And yeah, he's just terrible, right? Because all his followers are in the shits, but then he's flying private jets. It's like the worst representation of Jesus possible.
Like the oppressed, but making millions off of it.
And Joe Rogan, I think,
that's every church, right?
It's everything, because where you need hope, you need detriment.
Yeah,
and
it's not every church. It's not every church because
no, I'm Buddhist.
Because some church,
I have temples, bro.
It's not every church because like his churches are making him millions of dollars.
Millions.
And he's flying private jets, yeah. And he's healing people in his fucking crowds.
But now so sometimes it's like now I'm gonna compare it. Now hear me out, both of you. So I run a hospital, theoretically. I have a brain surgeon. The brain surgeon does surgeries that nobody else can do. And this brain surgeon now brings in more money than all of my doctors combined. Same thing. This priest heals people does things that the others can't do. Supposedly. So because of his reputation of doing things and being a bigger earner, bringing in more money, I know that's why I put the time up there. This is the unfortunate result. And so some people don't know how to stay humble. And I guess we could table this for next week. It could be a good conversation of money. Because there's a guy in India who could potentially be the richest man in the world, but he makes $0. And he goes around and lives with people, does advertisements, does so many things free.
I would. Being humble
Free.
is the greatest.
And so
Joel
he has
Osteen
no money.
does not do anything for free though.
That's what I'm
so
saying. That's
he,
a
Right.
humbling
if you have to
experience.
pay to play, he exploits people's vulnerabilities for
Financial gain.
finding spirituality and finding
I think this is a great topic for next week, by the way,
forgiveness.
you guys.
Right, forgiveness. This guy, he exploits. There's nothing redeeming about him. There is nothing true about him. He is one of the people who have found a weakness in the human psyche, right?
But there's a
especially
weakness
in the
in
United
everybody,
States.
and that's the
especially in the
shitty
United
part.
States. He is.
Joel Osteen.
If evil exists,
Wow.
that's him.
Wow.
There's a lot of strong
That
power
sucks, you guys. That
creates
sucks.
monsters, real monsters. You know what I mean? And I feel like detriment, living in the hood, creates motivational speakers. That's like the hope. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, look at
privilege
this guy. He's a
creates
motivational speaker
monsters,
right
and
there.
oppression creates like actual leaders. If that makes sense.
It does. Some people speak and some people actually lead and change. You're either about that life or you're not, right?
That's why I'm here, guys. I'm trying to change.
That
My
being
underwear
said,
tomorrow.
I'm so degenerate.
I'd like to tap into this next week if we could. Could this be like a topic? Will, you look very comfy. This would be amazing. And I know you
I
hate
feel
the
like
close-ups.
for as drunk,
No,
like
Will is sober. Will hates the close-ups, so this is a great 2-for-1. Will, could you close us out? Oh, wait. But before we go,
For next week, I think it would be great because
I think it'd be a good topic.
For me, I thought for a moment in my life when I was younger that I thought I was chosen by God to bring people to the promised land, to change the world.
Okay, well,
And now I don't believe in God at all. So
so that being said, I think this would be a great one where when we're both on the same level of inebriation, we could actually finally argue and debate like intelligent males, and at the end of the day, shake hands, hug, and say I love you. Because I think it's something that we're both going to disagree about, but in a way where I think we can talk about it educationally.
I feel like you just want to give him a hug.
I do, but that's going to be next week.
wait, so are you for religion?
I am actually still, yeah.
Okay.
I
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like religion has
Yeah.
to bring cohesion
Yeah, no, I am,
amongst
yeah.
a social.
I do.
There has to be a reason.
I do believe in ascension, and I do still believe in God. Yeah, I do.
I don't believe in God though.
I don't-
believe
I
in
do
the
not attend
essential
church.
Of religion. in
Well, so the key
society.
word there, the number one for me personally, is I absolutely believe in ascension.
100%.
You're
But-
not going to be able to talk me
Our
out of ascension.
determination.
Ascension is like meditation, though.
Right,
and like,
well-
and like
well,
yeah, and just like
Ascension
Our
and religion,
interpretation
right? Which is why I said
of-
this could be so
right.
good.
Yeah.
It's a good
Okay.
one.
So yeah,
Took answer.
so next
But-
week I'm bringing the Kool-Aid.
Are there drugs in the Kool-Aid?
No, there's cyanide.
Well, sign us out. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. We'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week, guys. I'm Will.
That's Tara.
I can't do.
And God damn it,
Smell.
I'm the Mad Hatter, baby.
I
Yeah.
drink the second drink.
Yo,
Let's
thank you
go.
everybody for hanging out with us. You know what? They all gave me a minute before we sign out. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you for hanging out with us. I hope you have a great week. Please subscribe. Please watch the replay. Please tell your friends. Holy titties. We like to have conversational stuff. We just need a bigger audience, maybe. Tell your friends. tell their friends.
He's smoking a cigarette, y'all. I recommended that suggestion in the suggestion box.
Keep it up in the suggestion box, everybody. I'll see you next week. I love you. Oh,
Bye, Anne.
and I like pie.
Do
And
you really like pie?